Welcome to the Good Games Podcast, episode 178. This is a show where we talk about video games and gamer-related things. My name is Frank from Pon Menso, and I'm your host. And as always, I'm joined by the co-host of the show, Alex Nunez. What's up, sir?
Not much, man. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Yes, today is Thanksgiving Day.
Word.
As you are hearing this.
In the United States of America, at least.
Yes, in the US of A. And I, after we finish this, I actually gotta get ready to cook. I gotta get all these materials together, and I gotta start cooking early.
You're a little late on that. You should have started already. Come on.
Nah, man. Well, we're not exactly doing a big Thanksgiving this year.
Okay.
And that's another story within itself, but it's not relevant to this show. But yeah. So it's not. We don't have to really do a whole lot of prep.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. What are you going to be doing besides eating?
Pretty much just eating. Yeah.
Okay. Is Thanksgiving at your place, or are you going somewhere?
No, it's we're having it here.
And
but there's so many people here. I pretty much don't have to do anything. Everything's taken care of.
I was about to ask, are you going to help?
I might.
Okay. Well, I kind of think that I'm going to be cooking as well, but it's going to be split between me and my wife. So, yeah, I'm hoping that works out.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Well, good luck on that.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, I hope it'll turn out fine. And it should turn out fine. I'm not a terrible cook.
Hey,
so.
It will turn out fine. It's the power of positive thinking.
Oh, I hope so. I hope that's the case. But all right. Well, I really gotta get cooking. So let's start this show. So we're gonna start with what we've been playing, as we always do. And you're up first. So what you got for us?
I've been playing a lot, but also like nothing at the same time. It's been a weird week for me. I haven't been playing super a lot. Like, the usual suspects are still in rotation. Been playing Destiny 2 a little bit, playing ranked in Street Fighter 5 because there's that whole mission. I thought it was bad last month because they had that mission that you had to win 80 ranked matches. Mm-hmm. And this month they're like, hey, how about we make it 100? And I'm like, sons of bitches.
Is that total over the time you've owned the game, or like in that one time period?
No, the challenges. So like the challenges are just for like the calendar month. So for the month of November, you have to get to win 100 matches. 100 matches to get a grip of fight money. And
how much fight money?
I don't even know anymore. I think last time it was around like 30,000 fight money. So it's nothing to sneeze at. It might be like closer to 40 or 50,000. I forget.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good.
But yeah, I was slowly picking away at that. Now that the month is coming towards an end, I was like, you know what? I should, pick up the slack a little bit on this, grind out some ranked, and I was doing okay, especially after a little break from Street Fighter 5, which tends to happen a lot. We played a bunch of fighting games too over the weekend.
Yeah, we played a bunch of games on Fightcade.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun, right?
It was. It was. Until it kind of wasn't. I was like, man, this is kind of boring.
What? How? Why?
You know what makes it really boring? Is that you always pick the same character. Granted, we were using Fightcade. I had no choice. I was about to say. But even if you did have the choice, I don't think you would have changed characters anyway.
I totally would have changed characters.
Okay.
And pretty much all of the games we played, I can use multiple characters.
Okay.
So, yeah, if I had the choice, I totally would have changed characters. But, yeah, you just happen to fight those characters.
Yeah, and I am not familiar, or as familiar as you are with those games, so I was just, like, losing a lot and spending a lot of time learning, seeing what I could get away with and what I couldn't. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like those, I don't think I've ever played Vampire Savior before, but that game is pretty fucking cool.
Vampire Savior is an amazing game.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you haven't played it at all. I thought you would have played like Darkstalkers 3 or Vampire Savior in some capacity. That game is amazing.
Yeah, once, because that was around, the golden age of fighting games, and then there were just so many of them, and there was a lot that I left by the wayside because there was just so much to keep up with.
Yeah, Vampire Savior it's like, in a way, it's like, I don't want to compare it to Third Strike, but it's basically like a Capcom fighting game that's still played to this day, like heavily to this day. Okay. Even though the cast is fairly small, but all of those characters are just so awesome. Like, they're all designed really well, and they're all good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they all seem very cool and inventive, and especially with their movesets, it's like, what the hell's going on here? This is crazy.
Yeah, no, Vampire Savior is so dope. It's definitely one of my favorite fighting games ever.
Yeah, I can see that now.
Yeah, it's so amazing. It's so great. I can't say enough good things about that game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad that you got the opportunity to play it. I had no idea that was your first time.
No, I don't think
I just thought you played it like maybe like once or twice in passing, but
nope. Okay. I haven't played any of the Darkstalkers game, actually. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yup.
The first one I started with was the first Darkstalkers when it came out for PlayStation.
Okay.
Actually, I might have touched the first Darkstalkers in the arcade when it came out, and I was just like, But then when it came out for PlayStation, it was like a launch title for the original PlayStation,
right?
And I played it then, and I'm like, oh, this game is really cool. And I basically used every character except for the Mummy.
Oh, gotcha.
In that game, the Mummy was I think he was kind of trash in that game. But the weird thing is, he was the only character I was able to perfect Pyron, the final boss, with.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just spamming down and hard punch, and Pyron could not get past it. So it was just exploiting the AI.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, like, I used every character in that game, and they only had 10 characters at the time to select, and you couldn't even select the bosses. There were no codes or anything to select the 2 bosses.
Damn.
So yeah, to this day, there's still nothing. So, but in the second Darkstalkers game, which is more like an expansion, they allowed you to use the other 2 characters, the 2 bosses.
Oh, okay.
But
that makes sense.
In the console version of Vampire Savior, you actually can use. There are 3 extra characters that you can use that weren't available in the arcade, and 2 of those 2 bosses were 2 of them, and Donovan, from the newer character from the second Darkstalkers game, was also available to be used in Vampire Savior, and it just made the game more robust. It's just an awesome game. I love it.
Yeah, it's fucking cool,
anyway,
man.
I digress.
One of the weirder games that I decided to play this week was actually the first Destiny.
Oh.
Yeah.
I brought this on.
So I was in one of the Destiny Discords that I'm in. Somebody was looking to run Wrath of the Machine again. And I was like, holy shit, I love that fucking raid. Count me in, and yeah, we just booted up and ran that raid, and it was magical because that raid is still so good. But we fucking like breezed through it really quick. I think it took us only like an hour.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I was like, holy shit! It's like we never missed a beat. Even though I had never played with those guys before, it seemed like they were a regular group, and they just needed one person to kind of fill in. And it was so I guess most of us are all like on Destiny 2, and had ran that raid before, and we knew what to do. It's just at the march of time, you just forget things, and it was kind of surprising how fast we kind of got back in the groove of it. Like, I think for each encounter, if we did fail, we only failed like once, and then after that, it was just like, okay, now we know what to do. We figured it out, and I was just like, wow, this is okay. It was just kind of surprising how much we retained, and it's just like ingrained in the fucking consciousness of all Destiny 1 players at this point.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So would you ever like go back and do this again as like a regular thing?
I could definitely see myself doing that if I had a regular group to do that with. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, just because, again, that raid is just so well done. I just love the way the encounters are designed and the level of communication that you need to have. It's not as rigid as some of the other raids have been, where you have to, stand in specific places and do specific things. There's a little wiggle room in Wrath of the Machine that is not really present in some of the other raids. But I just love that kind of level of controlled chaos. It's just so much fun.
Okay, cool.
But the one thing of substance that I did want to talk about this week was a little mobile game called Miracle Merchant. It's kind of a little puzzle game. I guess you could think of it as like a solitaire game. But the one thing that struck out about this game is that the art style is just goddamn amazing. Like, that was like, I just saw screenshots on somewhere on like Twitter. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I need to at least check this out because it looks so damn amazing. And it's just got this very, I don't know how exactly to describe it, but it's got this like hand-drawn art style, but like it's super detailed as well. It's almost, I wouldn't say quite a Where's Waldo deal, but there is something in there that you can like look in the backgrounds and see, like there's like you're kind of working in like some potion shop, and in the background is like these big shelves full of like different potions and books and stuff, and it's like just looking at the background and seeing the level of detail in that like pretty simplistic art style is pretty cool, and not something you tend to see a lot of in like these types of games. But yeah, it was just very striking to see that. I was like, oh, okay, I'm at least going to see what this is about. And yeah, it's I don't know, it hasn't, like, gameplay wise, it hasn't super grabbed me yet. I haven't spent a lot of time with it either, but they're like, maybe I'm missing some level of depth there, but so far it seems pretty straightforward. So in the game, you have like 4 piles of cards in front of you, and I think usually they are all color coded. So you have like a red, blue, green, and yellow, and your job, you're like a potion shop owner, and you have a line of customers coming towards you, and they each have like a potion or a particular kind of potion that they want, and you kind of have to serve it up. And the way you kind of make these potions is that you drag 4 cards that are in front of you and then arrange them into a potion that just kind of like magically appears. And I think there are like set ingredients or set recipes for the different potions. So if you took the time to memorize what those, combinations of ingredients are, you could just, put out whatever potion you want. But I don't know that super matters, because really the only thing the customers care about are the particular ingredients of the potion, and the ingredients are just the color types that are in front of you. So some of the cards, they also have little like symbols on the bottom of the card or on the sides of the card. So like if you have a blue card, sometimes it'll have like, say, for example, on the left-hand side of the bottom part of that card, there will be like a little yellow shape. So that if you use that blue card and then put a yellow card to the left of that blue card, that increases the card's value, or the potion's value. And I think one of the main, like the basic goals is to, every time you make a potion, it has to have a value of at least 1 or more. So you want to kind of, combine them in a way that, increases their value. So I guess the thinking there is that you make the most money out of the potion. But if there's like sometimes there'll be one on the left or on the right. So obviously you want to match the colors on either side of that card. Or sometimes there's a shape on the bottom middle of the card. And that just means that you can use that color on that card anywhere in the potion. So you might have like a red card with like a little green symbol in the middle. So if you use that red card, as long as you have some green in there to mix it in with, that automatically just adds to the value of the card too. So you kind of want to combine strategically which cards go where. And then I think once you have cleared out your deck, you've kind of won. I forget how like the game is structured. I don't think there's like this overall like story thing or whatever. It's kind of been a while since I played, but yeah, like basically you clear out the deck and then you're done. The wrinkle there is that there are occasionally black cards in each of the piles, and the black cards inherently just give you a negative value. So you have to basically find a way to use those cards, because you have to clear all your cards anyway. So you want to make sure you can use those cards in a way that can, and then also create a potion that, has some value to it. Some of the colored cards, they'll also have those little like black markers on the side. So it's not just any of the 4 colors. So you can use a black card that gives you like -2, and then put another like a blue card that has that little red thing on the side of it. Or I'm sorry, the black thing on the side of it. Put that card next to the black card, and automatically you have at least some value there, and that helps. But yeah, it's just a weird way of like combining things just based on the colors, and of course, you have to take into account what the customer's needs are, because I think they typically have like two little like thought bubbles above their head. There's one on the top, which is like, okay, I need to have this, ingredient in this potion. But then there's like another, a smaller one beneath that, which is like their favorite ingredient. So if you can somehow mix in their favorite ingredient, I guess that'll also boost the value of the said potion. But yeah, that's kind of like the basics of the game. There are some other, like, I think, kind of curveballs that they shoot your way, but that's the overall, like, gameplay of it. But yeah, like, I didn't feel like I was super compelled to think too hard to make these potions. Again, I don't know if maybe if I play more, maybe there are different card types or something. I don't know. Maybe it'll get more difficult, because at first it seems like, okay, I'm going to use one card from each pile, so that way I evenly distribute like the cards, so that I'm not left with like, I want to make sure that I empty all of my cards all at the same time, so then I get out of the game, or I win. Because I don't know either if you can use I'm not sure if you can use multiple cards from the same pile. That's my other question. Again, it's been a little while since I've played this game, but
okay.
But I remember that kind of being an issue towards the end of the game. Like, once I was getting towards the end of the piles, I was like, oh, that's right. There's these black cards that are kind of like in the mix, and I want to use like one of each color. And then, the black cards come into play, and I'm like, oh shit, I can't do this. And the customer wants this color, but there's a black card in the way. But yeah, it's like the main thing that again caught my attention was the art style, and the art style is super charming. I just don't know if the gameplay is there to keep my attention. It just seems pretty simplistic so far.
Okay.
But hey, the game is free, and if you're interested in how it looks, you can maybe check it out yourself. But
it's not a bad shake.
Mm-mm.
If it looks pretty,
it definitely looks pretty.
I fall for pretty things all the time. So it might, especially if it's free, I might just be compelled to check it out.
Yeah, just like, again, I don't know. It's just like the art style alone. I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. It's not that big of a deal, and it's an all right game. It's nothing like spectacular, at least so far, but it's kind of interesting. It's just, so far it seems kind of shallow at the same time.
I see.
Yeah. But that's kind of what I've been playing this week. Just a bunch of other stuff and Miracle Merchant thrown in there.
Yeah, man.
How's your week been?
Well, I sort of broke a promise to myself.
Okay.
So, as we've been doing the show, we've been talking about like certain games that come out episodically. And there have been games where I'm like, I'm definitely going to get that, but I'm waiting until all the episodes come out before I do it. So one of the games I kind of didn't do that. The final episode has yet to come out. They're estimating that it's going to come out sometime in December.
Okay.
But yeah. So, but I couldn't help it because I couldn't wait any longer. But I've been playing Life is Strange Before the Storm, which is the prequel to the first Life is Strange.
Mm-hmm.
And in this game, you take control of Chloe. And this game takes place, I believe, 3 years before the events of the original Life is Strange.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't want to spoil stuff from Life is Strange, the original Life is Strange. So I'm going to try not to.
Okay.
So you control Chloe. Chloe was the best friend of Max in the first game, and she was one of the antagonists in the game. And antagonist doesn't necessarily mean villain. It just means someone opposed to the protagonist in some sort of way.
Yeah.
So, in the first Life is Strange, Chloe was, to me, Chloe was a fucking pain in the ass. Like, she was, but her character was written to be that way.
Right.
Like the two characters have a history. They're best friends, but the protagonist Max moves, and when she moves, Chloe felt abandoned because Max got busy with her new life, and Chloe felt abandoned. So when you finally do meet up with Chloe again, and your paths cross again, Chloe is kind of like cold to you, and she also has some shit going on in her life, in her family life, that makes her like a rebel and an outcast and all of that stuff, right? So complete pain in the ass from moment one, complete pain in the fucking ass, right? But you realized in the first Life is Strange, and I'm really not trying to spoil anything, but in the first Life is Strange, you realize that a lot of the story revolves around Chloe rather than you. That you start to realize that this story is not your story. This story, you just happen to be in Chloe's story, because a lot of the major plot points are straight up about Chloe and just how you come to be involved in her life and at these crucial points. So, I mean, everything about the game is pretty much about Chloe. So, rightfully so, they decide to make another Life is Strange and involves Chloe and I guess the events before what happens in the first Life is Strange. So in the original Life is Strange, Chloe mentions that she had a friendship with a girl named Rachel Amber. And it's not a secret, but Rachel was murdered in the first Life is Strange. So in this game, you are exploring that friendship. Like, what happened exactly? Like, what led to the events of her being killed? How does Chloe know this? Like, how does Chloe know who did it and all of this stuff, right? So you're kind of exploring that whole thing and seeing how the events shake out. So I know it seems like I'm comparing a lot to the first game, but I think it's rightfully so. In the first Life is Strange, the thing to me personally that made it very interesting was the rewind mechanic. It added a little sci-fi element into a sort of like Telltale game or pick your own adventure type game.
Right.
And with the rewind mechanic, it allowed you to see all of the short-term fallouts from all of your conversations. So you were able to see the outcome of every single choice that you had in every conversation. So whether it be smaller conversations or conversations that were like, game-changing stuff. So then from there, you're able to, make your decision based on all of your choices. So that, and they also use the rewind mechanic in very interesting ways outside of that. But that to me made the game even more interesting than it already was. Now, Chloe obviously does not have that power in this game, in the first game. So there's no rewind mechanic. So it's basically like you're playing out a make your choice game, and you just have to live with your choices. Like regularly so.
Right, yeah.
So, and maybe it's because I haven't played as much of the game as I had liked to. I'm still on the first episode.
Okay.
But the game so far, it's boring to me. It's really boring to me. Like, the only thing that's really driving me is because I really want to understand what happens with Chloe and Rachel, like how their friendship develops and what eventually leads to her being killed. And then what happens after the fact. I'm hoping that the game actually goes that far.
Right.
So besides that, there's literally nothing driving me forward. In the first game, the first Life is Strange, you had not just a rewind mechanic, but you had so many elements driving you forward that it felt like you were almost being pushed in certain directions, but you just had many forks in the road to choose from. In this game, it's like I'm not necessarily being pushed. I'm just kind of going at your own pace, and things seem very normal. And I'm just like, all right, when is stuff gonna actually like progress? Like it's starting out really slow for me. And again, I'm still on the first episode. There's 3 episodes that are planned. The second one is already out. The last one is not till next month, supposedly. And I'm just, I'm not really impressed. Like, the writing to me also isn't as strong as the other Life is Strange. And I'm glad we got more Life is Strange at all to begin with, but I'm just not impressed with what I've been playing so far. I think I'll have a fairer assumption when I progress through the game. And get into episode 1 and finished that in episode 2 and finished that. But that's where that whole lack of sci-fi comes in for me, where it's just like, all right, just do normal stuff. And I'm like, yes, it looks great, and it looks great, and it's just like walk around, do stuff, and talk to people and stuff, and make decisions. But this is something that's been done before. And the first Life is Strange, of course, it had something that's been done before, but it had that rewind mechanic that's never been done before in that fashion. And it added that another level of interest, another layer of interest. But now it's just kind of like, let's do it the old fashioned way, make your choices. And then if you want to see the other choices, go all the way back and play through it again and pick the alternate choices. You want to be a good person in the beginning and then an asshole in the second run around, or vice versa, or whatever. And it's just to me, I haven't seen anything to me that's like sticking out to me saying like, oh, it's a worthy prequel to the first game, because right now it's not looking that great.
Would you say your enjoyment of the first Life is Strange was a lot around the rewind mechanic, or did you actually, on some level, enjoy being with those characters?
So it was both. Okay. It was like a really good balance of the two. So the first game was very well written. This game so far seems almost on par, but it's just not as good.
I think it's a different team too this go around, right? I don't remember.
Oh, I thought it was the same team.
I think it's not the same developer, because Don't Nod they developed the first one, I think, but I don't. Right. I think it was a different team on this one. I could be wrong, but I remember hearing something like that.
Oh, that's okay. That makes sense. Makes a lot of sense now if that's the case. But so getting back to your question, to answer your question, the first game, it was like I said, it's like a balance where like you're going through the story, you're experiencing these characters, you're getting to know all of these people. And just when the game seems to slow down, they implement something to force you to use the rewind mechanic. And the rewind mechanic, like, it was like, all right, it wakes you back up, because either you have all these choices to make, or you need to use they had this one instance in the first game, and I think I talked about this when I talked about the first game, but they had this one instance in the first game where you had to prove to Chloe, like you told Chloe that you had powers, that you had the ability to rewind things. So you had to prove to Chloe that you weren't bullshitting her. Mm-hmm. And the way you did that is that basically you had to predict everything that was going to happen. And like, you guys were in a diner, and you basically had to predict everything that was going to happen to her. So in order for you to do that, you had to actually observe everything that was happening. And then when you felt you had a good grasp on it, rewind. And then you would talk to Chloe, and you would tell her in order with your choices, the choices that you had, you would tell her in order what happens in what sequence. And so I'm like, that's very interesting. That like they force you to do things like that. And then there's this one really pivotal part of the story where I'm not going to say what happens in the first game, but basically if you were paying attention to your choices, it all culminates into this one event. And it's not even like choices that were game breaking. These are just like choices that were, not really important, but you still had to make them. Mm-hmm. And then it all culminates into this one event. And if you made certain choices, or you made the right choices, then the event would work out in your favor. But you still had to use your rewind mechanic. And then in the middle of that event, you lose the ability temporarily. So you basically get thrown into a really bad situation where you have to make the right choices, and you have no way to rewind out of it. So again, interesting shit like that was thrown at you, and it seemed like the story and the sci-fi, like the regular stuff and the sci-fi stuff, meshed together very well, and it worked. But
if you were to divorce the sci-fi from that story, would there be anything there for you?
the story wouldn't necessarily work if there was no sci-fi element.
But more
so
like the characters. Would you like enjoy hanging with those?
Were great. Yeah, absolutely. The characters were great. They were all well written. The main character, she was written really well. Chloe was written. Chloe, like to my chagrin, Chloe was the best written character of that game.
Okay,
because you hated her in the beginning, and then by the end of the game, you did not want her to go anywhere. Like, you wanted to be right by her side the whole time. Like, the final choice of the game is this supremely like life-changing decision that you must make.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've played The Last of Us and you've beaten The Last of Us, the ending to Life is Strange is very similar in theme to the ending to the ending of The Last of Us. And it's just like a huge, monumental fucking choice, and it directly involves Chloe.
Okay.
So by the end of that game, Chloe, you're like, holy shit, did a complete 180 in my eyes, and she's like the best character. Whereas in the beginning, you're like, get the fuck out of my face. Like, you are annoying to me. So yeah, the characters were great. The game was very well written, but the game wouldn't have worked. The characters were great, but the plot would not have worked if it did not have that sci-fi element, because everything involved needed to be able to make the choice, to make the right choice.
Right.
And you needed to be able to see all of your options.
Yeah, I was more asking, like, if the game was able to exist without the sci-fi element, would you be?
Yeah, then it would have been a well written game. They just would have had to retool a lot of it,
right?
But it would have been a very well written game. Like, they got the atmosphere right, the teenager, like being a dramatic teenager, the teen angst. They got that right. They got that like on point.
Okay,
you know, like the different cliques, different groups of teenagers in high school. And they got that down. Like, they got that feeling down. Like, the choice of the music selection in the game was also very appropriate for the game itself. It really drove the story along.
Okay.
Even though it was in the background, it wasn't really that important, but
it
was really, so yeah, I think if they were able to retool the game somehow and not have the sci-fi mechanic, it still would have been a great game. Like, but it would have been a completely different kind of game, like a different story.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally would have been able to divorce the I wouldn't have minded divorcing the sci-fi element and having like a unique story in that fashion, because they got a lot of elements right. Like, I felt like I was back in high school, like when I was playing the game.
Uh-huh.
Like, even from the very beginning, like, you know, again, music choice, and like they have this montage, not this montage, but they have this just like, they start off with this song, and the game, when you start off with this song, you're like walking through the halls of your high school, and you're like meeting all of these people while this song is playing. You're like, God damn it, high school. Like, that's all I could fucking think. Is like very appropriate. So,
but so far like that sort of magic,
I don't get that with this. Yeah. I don't get that with this. Like, They start this game off sort of in it's kind of in the same fashion, but it's like Chloe, you know, badass Chloe, but you could tell Chloe's kind of like a little damaged. Like, she's not sure where she fits in life. You know, and she's like taking it out on her family and her friends, and then it's up to you to make choices to kind of guide her in one direction or another. Like, the game starts off with her standing on these train tracks, and at night, and there's a train coming at her, and she's smoking a cigarette, and the train is coming at her, and the train tries to stop, and it's honking its horn, and she's just standing there waiting for the train to take her away. And at the last second, she jumps off of the tracks, and while the train passes by, and then she goes to like this party that's like right next to where she was standing. And
okay.
And at this party, you have to like, there's this new thing that they have in this game. It's called like not intimidation, but it's I forgot what they call it. It's like a special kind of choice that you have to make. And basically you have to have a conversation with the person that you have the special choice with, and you basically have to like insult them. And you have to insult them, so you have to like win the battle of insults, the battle of wits. And when you insult them to a certain point, then they leave you alone, or they let you, like in this case, she was, the first time you do it is with the bouncer to the party.
Mm-hmm.
And the bouncer at first, he doesn't let you in because he's like, you're too young and all this stuff. But then you do this whole this new choice thing, and you insult him enough, and he's like, oh, you've got moxie. We need that. I like moxie, you know. And it's just like, he doesn't literally say moxie, but he's like, you've got guts, kid. And he's like, so he lets you in, and it's just like,
oh, so that's her superpower, is to,
and see, that's the thing. It's like that sounds corny as fuck, because it is. It's like that's her superpower, to insult people. Like, that's her special thing. She just keeps insulting like key people in the story to let her get her way.
I mean,
and it's just like, you have to like do like 3 or 4. You have to do 3 or 4 successful insults in a row, and they tell you have to listen to what the person is saying to you.
Oh my God.
In response, and then you have to pick the appropriate response in order to win that section of the battle.
Oh my God, that is so good. I was like about to make a reference to it before, but now it's like, okay, they're just aping the insult sword fighting from Monkey Island, which is amazing.
That's a really good comparison. That's a really good comparison, because it's like, well, like, I understand that Chloe, because again, Chloe was a fucking pain in the ass in the first game. She really fucking was. Oh my God. But I think that's a little reaching, because she's still a person deep down, a young person deep down. It's like, is she that like jaded and cut off from her emotion that's the thing that she does? She insults people to get her way.
But that's also the opening act, so to speak, of this game.
Right. But it is the thing. It is definitely the thing that makes her special, quote unquote.
Right.
Because you could tell that's like even like the the option to do it is like highlighted with these like really drastic colors, like these blue like swirls or something. And it's like, this is a point in this game where you must use this choice in order to progress further in the game. And it's like, oh, God. So I was like, really pay attention to what the person's saying so that you can, and I'm like, oh, come on, really? So
how's that different though from like paying attention to your environment so that you can know what to say when you rewind?
No, that whole thing is like, when you pay attention, when you're paying attention to what the person's saying, you only have so much time.
Right.
That's one thing. The other thing is that, like, you have to pay attention to like certain words that they're saying. It's like, so someone says, the apple is red. And then you want to insult them by saying, oh, you like apples? How about these apples? Or some stupid shit like that. And it's just like, but it's just like, if you don't pick that choice, then you lose that section of the battle. And it's like, I don't think that's fair at all. Like, I don't think that's even a good idea. Like,
it was a good idea when Monkey Island came out. I can't speak to the execution here, but I don't know. That you know what? Playing that game is still fucking great. Like, if you go play Monkey Island right now for the first time and experience that insult sword fighting for the first time, you might have a very good time.
Yeah, you might.
I know I did.
mean, yeah. So yeah, life is strange. Yeah. So there are good things about the game. I'm not gonna completely like try to trash this game. Like, again, and I haven't played much of it, but I can tell like the main characters are going to be very important to the story. And another thing about this game, which I'm kind of having a little bit of an issue with, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, but you're encountering characters that you've encountered in the first Life is Strange. So you kind of understand their agenda from the get-go in this game, and this game is supposed to have taken place before the first Life is Strange.
Right.
And in fact, this is one of those games where it makes sense to play this game first and then play the first Life is Strange second, because it's a true prequel. Like, you're not even seeing Max yet, or Max is younger, or she looks different, and she doesn't develop powers in this instance. She develops powers in the first episode of the first Life is Strange. But yeah, you're encountering all these characters, and you know their agenda, and they're still acting like very similar. They're acting very similar to the characters that they were in the first game. And you're like, so I feel like the reason why I said you should probably play this first is because the first Life is Strange is kind of affecting my choices with these characters, like my conversations with these characters. Like, I know, like, this character's an asshole, or this character's really nice. You know, this character winds up being really nice, or this character winds up being an asshole, or it's just been an asshole from the very beginning. And you encounter a lot of that. Or this character started out as an asshole, or I thought they were an asshole, but then it turns out that they're actually decent, you know, in the end of things. So I feel like it's affecting my choices, and I don't want it to do that, but this is where I wish I kind of like had the rewind mechanic to see like all the short-term fallout. So then I can have a bit more of I can make a bit more of an educated guess, because the personalities that they had in the first game are skewing my choices with them here.
Right.
And I'm like, and the reason why I say it's not necessarily a bad thing is because I kind of already know like how they're going to turn out and what's going to happen to them and all of this stuff, but it's still like,
in a sense, this game is your rewind power. You know what happens in the future.
Only. So yes, you're correct. I mean, as far as most of the events of the game, like the first game took a real fucking like amazing sci-fi twist in the middle of it. Like, I would say at the climax of the game, like there's a huge fucking sci-fi twist, and you're like, oh my god. And you're like, this is what happens when I keep fucking with time. You know? And you have to deal with it. And you have to deal with it. Basically, it's like a giant, that's not really a dream, but it's kind of like you're in a catatonic state because you kind of burned yourself out. You burned out all of your power. And in doing that, you kind of put yourself into a situation that happened in the past. And you know that the situation happened in the past, but you have to watch it happen again. Okay. And you basically have to, and because you understand that you burned your power out, at least in this instance, that you have to understand that you have to make things happen in the way they should happen, or else you're going to wind up in this world, like this world where you're in now, where it's not, this is not right. Like, this is not supposed to be the way it is right here. So you have to make things happen so that you get back to your regular state, like your regular universe.
Yeah, so that Biff doesn't get the sports almanac.
Exactly, and goes back and bets on the Cubs, and yeah. So yeah. You know, so like there's like that, and again, I haven't played through the game a whole lot yet. There was one little interesting thing where I was privy to a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, sort of, and I played out like not an entire, but like most of a D&D campaign in the game,
right?
Which was really fun because you had to make like your choices depending on the campaign and stuff like that. So. That was nice. It was a lot of fun. It took about 20. They said it would take about 20 minutes, and it took just about that long. To finish. And basically, you're waiting to go to class and stuff like that. So
yeah, I remember hearing about that a while ago, and that seemed kind of cool. I was like, oh, that's a weird thing.
It was pretty cool. So I did that, and I've done some other stuff. And right now, I'm just like trying to befriend Rachel, and you know, getting through all the teenager angst, and you know, being drama queens and kings and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm still gonna play through it, and I'm still looking forward to seeing what happens, because again, in the first game, there's another kind of twist where had nothing to do with powers. It was just like, you should have seen this coming. Like, it's real shit. And it's just like, how the fuck did I end up here? And you should have fucking seen it coming, and it's real shit. And Yeah, so I'm hoping that the game at least is written in a fashion where it has like that element where like, how the fuck do I get out of this situation?
Yeah.
Like real fucking shit. Like shit gets real in the first game and in the final chapter, or leading up to the final chapter and the whole final chapter, shit gets real. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that's the case in this. But the only thing that's pushing me forward, like I said, is the thing that I want to see what happens with Rachel. Like, what was the cause? Because apparently Rachel is worse than Chloe.
Right.
So I want to see like that relationship, and I want to see what eventually leads to her death.
Okay.
So
I do have one last question for you, though.
Sure.
I know this game was kind of affected by the SAG-AFTRA strike that recently resolved itself.
Oh, yeah.
Has that been like super noticeable? Those changes to the actors?
You know, at first, yeah. I thought I'm like, yeah, it's a completely different actress. But as the game's been going, I'm starting to not notice.
Okay.
I'm starting to not notice anymore. It sounds she's sounding a lot more like the Chloe of old.
Okay.
You know, like there's like Chloe has this in the first game, she has this kind of I want to say it's kind of like a weird throat pulling in her voice. Mm-hmm. Like it's almost nasally but deep. And in the beginning of this game, she didn't have that. Like she was speaking very clearly, and I couldn't hear that deep nasally sound that I was used to from her.
Uh-huh.
And now as the game is progressing, I'm hearing it now.
Oh, okay.
And I was looking for it before, and I was still looking for it, and now I'm hearing it. So it's getting better. It's getting better.
That's interesting.
She sounds more. It's noticeable. It's still noticeable though. Like you can tell it's a completely different voice actress.
Right.
And I do think that Ashley Birch did a good job. So,
as the original Chloe?
Original Chloe, yeah. She did a really good job as the original Chloe.
She's been killing it lately.
Oh yeah, she's been doing a lot of work.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I think I think that's all I've got to say so far about Life is Strange. I do want to finish it though.
Yeah.
And now looking back, I probably should have waited. I probably should have waited, but I couldn't. I couldn't wait because the first Life is Strange is so amazing. It probably makes me want to play through the first one again.
Right.
But
it's funny you talking about Chloe. It reminds me a lot of Kenny from the first season of The Walking Dead.
Oh yeah, I remember you told me he's a fucking asshole.
Kenny's an asshole, but then the main problem I had was with Ben. Like I had real beef with Ben.
Oh, sorry. You were talking about Ben. I thought you were talking about Kenny. Yeah. Ben.
Yeah. Ben, Kenny, he was also kind of just a dick all throughout. Ben started like kind of okay, and then he just rubbed me the wrong way. And he had to die.
Yeah. I mean, I would say Chloe is more of a Kenny than anything. I think like her turnaround though is like complete turnaround, and it was very appropriate too. Like that's why the writing was so fucking good. Mm-hmm. It was a completely appropriate turnaround because when you wind up in that alternate universe with seeing Chloe in that alternate universe, and you're like, oh no, this is wrong, completely all wrong. Like this kill it with fire. This has got to die right now. I cannot be here. And as soon as you make it back. Uh-huh. To at least your universe, you see Chloe, and then Chloe starts to grow on you almost overnight, like almost immediately. She just starts to grow on you, and you start to understand why she is the way she is and what she's been going through, and her life from the inside. Like like there's some deep shit that happens in that climax, and you're like, oh my god, I can't do this. Like this is no, I can't do this. I'm not cut out for this. Uh-huh. So you really start to understand, and when you start to understand, somehow Chloe just starts to lighten up a little bit, and she starts to, all the snarky shit she says is not as much. And even if she says snarky shit about you or to you, you're like, you just Chloe. I know what you're going through. Whatever. You can say whatever you want. Like you've had a rough shake of things.
Uh-huh.
So Yeah. Europe. Yeah, but that's been my time with Life is Strange Before the Storm. I will report in again because I want to complete this thing and see it through.
Have they announced when the last episode is coming out?
Not officially.
Okay.
There are people that are just speculating that it took 2 months for between episode 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably going to take another 2 months between episodes 2 and 3, and it's been 1 month already. So
okay.
It's going to take probably another 3 or 4 weeks. Hopefully, they're saying if that's the case. But it might be surprised. It might be earlier or later. Or I don't know. I'm thinking they might try to. They're probably going to try to release it before the end of the year, if anything.
Right.
So, yeah. That's that. But I do recommend if you haven't played Life is Strange, I would say. I know I said that this is a true prequel, but the first Life is Strange is so compelling and it's just so well done. But if you're a chronological kind of person, play this one first and then play the first game.
Okay.
And so you can see the kind of like both sides of the story. But I feel like if you play this one first, it'll spoil some things from the first game which are essential and stuff. So, yeah. But play the first game first, if anything, and then play this one.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm just underwhelmed by this one because sci-fi balanced it out really well.
Right.
But even still, standalone, the first game is fantastic.
Okay.
So, all right. So we're going to move into headlines as we usually do. And before we do, please go to innercitygeeks.com so you can follow along with us through the show notes. So first up, there was a new trailer that rolled out after the Red Bull Battleground finals this past week. And the new trailer was for Street Fighter V Arcade Edition, and they showcased a lot of the alternative V-triggers that some of the characters will be in possession of. And I gotta say, this looked pretty exciting. This looked like the change that the game needed, like the fresh, not necessarily a fresh coat of paint, but a fresh coat of system paint that the game needed, and it's going to change the game. It's going to change the game definitely. It's going to change the meta to a whole new level because, well, these are definitely new elements thrown in there, and some of the new V triggers look pretty sick. I gotta say, I like Ken's Shinryuken. He's got it back. That shit is dope. What did you think about the trailer?
I don't know. It was kind of cool to see some of the new stuff, but I don't know. I'm not super excited just yet. No. I did find it funny though that Guile got like the Sonic bangles on his ankles instead of his arms for his new V trigger, and I was like, "Yo, yeah. Sonic booms from the feet." Except it's not. It's just more flash kick stuff. But
flash kick.
It would have been hilarious if he just throws out fucking Sonic booms with his feet. That would have been great.
But he has I mean, Nash could in Street Fighter Alpha with his super Sonic break.
Yeah.
He could throw out with Sonic booms with his feet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I mean, if you go to Street Fighter Championship Edition, well, anybody could do anything in that game.
Yep.
Anybody could do anything with that game. Scott could throw Sonic booms with his feet. Yeah. Ken and Ryu can do Hadoukens in midair, like if they were standing on the ground, and this is great.
Sure.
So
that's a word.
Yeah. 100 hand slaps with Hadoukens coming out. Sure. Why not?
That is actually, I can get behind that.
But yeah, I thought this was fairly exciting, and I think it's something that the game needs. I mean, the arcade edition is something that the game has needed since 2016. But yeah, I think this will be a welcome change.
Yeah, it's too bad we only get to see a handful of characters in this trailer, like their new V triggers.
Not everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know some people were excited to see, especially some like lower tier characters like Alex and Jury who could need some love for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Would have been cool to see what they can do now, but yeah, I saw some funny stuff on Twitter. People like, the Alex V-Trigger 2 got leaked and he becomes like huge like Apocalypse in one of those, X-Men vs. Street Fighter games or whatever. And then Birdie just, flicks a booger at him with his idle animation and kills him anyway. So I was like, oh man.
That's terrible.
It hurts.
Man.
It hurts because it's so true. God damn. God damn,
Alex is a one of my good friends plays Alex, and he's he knows the struggle. Like but he's sticking by Alex, and I mean there's been wasn't there a pro player recently that like dominated a tournament with Alex? I forget who it was.
I would say Gunfight, like, because he's like the only top level Alex player that I can think of. But I don't
think it was him. But yeah, like there was but anyway, Alex has some crazy good tools. It's just, man, he's got zero priority. he's like free. He's free on jump ins. He's free on jump ins. He's free on sweeps.
Yeah.
It's just like, man, he could be so good when he's got his rhythm going. I mean, he's unstoppable.
Yeah,
especially with that V trigger. That V trigger popped. Oh man,
you don't want to throw out any buttons because he's gonna parry the shit out of you.
Yeah, don't attack. Empty jump ins if you have to.
Yeah,
grabs. Just don't attack him. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm more excited to see like more of the balance changes for the next season because I just want to know what's going to happen. Who's going to be where the tier list's going to be? Who's going to be on top? Who's going to be still on the bottom?
Well, I mean, and funny, they didn't show Balrog's V trigger. Like they're probably like, he doesn't need another one.
Yeah. Like, what are they going to do for Urian too? Like, what's his V trigger going to be? Like, his is already fucking crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. But we'll see. We will see.
Yes.
But okay. So moving on, and more Street Fighter news. Let's talk about Joy. Let's talk about Joy. Let's
do that.
Let's talk about. Yo, reading this article, I was fucking dying. Okay, so Joy Goodwin is the wife of a pro Street Fighter V player, Marcus Redmond. Cool kid, 93. She's like one of like the most professional shit talkers I've ever seen, like I've ever encountered. Like so much so, like, okay, reading this one snippet of this article, I was just like, it's that serious? So she's so fucking great at shit talking that, okay, so Red Bull Battlegrounds was this past week, and so, okay, this dude secured a spot in the regional finals. Once he secured his spot in the finals of this tournament, the tournament put her on an overnight flight from Chicago to Boston just so she could be there to talk all that fucking shit.
Yeah.
Like, if that's not professional shit talker, I don't know what is. If you get paid, not paid, but if you get put on a plane to go and talk shit at an esports tournament, that's fucking awesome.
Yo, and she put in work too.
She was louder than everybody.
Yeah, fucking. I was listening to commentary and shit. Like, you could hear her so clearly through their headset mics. I'm like, God damn, she's.
And then she moved up to the front row after a while. Like, I think it was after, I think when so Cool Kid got sent to losers and he had to fight his way back up. And I think while he was fighting his way back up, she just barreled her way down to the front row somehow. Because she was not sitting in the front row, but she just wound up there. And then you couldn't not hear her because she was so fucking clear. You could hear her every fucking word. It's just like, yo, oh man, this fucking. That's I think it's pretty awesome because the dude is like really cool, like really quiet. Like the word cool kid, like cool and cool kid is like, he's like really calm.
Yeah.
You know, like really cool. And it's saying that like he usually doesn't really hear a whole lot of what she says because he has headphones on while he's playing. But he says that whenever things go quiet and he does hear her talking, he says he loves every word of it. And Joy's got no fucking chill. Like it doesn't matter who you are. Like she sizes you up and then she's like, you ain't shit.
Yeah.
Straight up, you ain't shit.
But using a lot more words.
The whole fucking time she's talking, and I'm like, wow, this just boils down to you ain't shit.
She had it out for Punk too. Even when Punk like wasn't playing Cool Kid, I was like, he was playing his matches, and she just fucking tearing his ass apart. And Punk is one, he doesn't wear headphones, so he is getting all of it.
All of it. Mm-hmm.
It got to the point like he was down in the set like 0-2 or something, and the commentators was like, yo, Punk, put on the headset. The headset is right there, right in front of you. It will save you. Just put it on. But no, he ignored the advice, but he still somehow won with the onslaught that he was receiving both in the game and outside of the game.
And verbally.
No, yeah. It's just fucking hilarious.
Yeah, she's got no chill. Like she'll fucking let you know. She'll let you know like all your flaws. Like it'll hurt. It'll dig deep.
But at the end of the day, it's all love too.
I hope some of the players think that, because she goes in.
I mean, Punk did. Like he won the event, and he like straight up like when he was giving his speech, he thanked Joy in his speech. Right.
He's like, he thanked her.
Yeah,
because he's just like.
And then Cool Kid had a pretty good match against 801 Strider, which unfortunately Cool Kid lost. Yeah. But, Joy was talking shit to Strider. And Strider just kind of got up and smiled and was like pointing at her and stuff. And and I think once he got down off the stage, they kind of hugged, and it was again, it's all love, man. It's all love.
Yeah. Yeah, she there's a quote from her here. She's like, they're all good players, but you can never let them know that. And she says, so each one gets their own trash talk. I mean, Punk, he's a nice guy, but his name gave me enough of a fireball right there.
Oh shit.
And she said, with the rest of them, it kind of free falls. They get up there, you look at them, it's like, oh, you're nothing. Your children will be nothing. And I'm like, fuck. Why did you have to add that last comment, Joy? Why did you I'm like, fuck. It's like, you're nothing. Your children will be nothing. And I'm like, oh, man.
Wow.
Digging deep. Claws out. So, but it is all in good fun. I mean, it was fucking hilarious the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to watch. There are there are some video instances on this article where you can clearly hear her talking shit.
Well, just watch any of the fights from that day. You can clearly hear her in all of those matches.
Pretty much. And she wasn't even there in the beginning. She wasn't even there.
No,
Alex.
But the threat was there, because I remember I was watching games that day, and I forget, I think it was like James Chen or something, like, yo, this guy's lucky that Joy isn't here, because they be hearing it.
And then Red Bull's like, yeah, you know what? Why the fuck not? Hey, you want to come down to Boston? Just to do what you do best? She's like, sure. And there she fucking is. God damn it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Things might have gone differently if she wasn't around. But that was a decent strategy.
Yeah.
I don't know how the tournament was okay with a professional shit talker being able to talk her shit in the front row eventually. But hey, strategy is strategy.
Audience participation, right?
Yeah, sure.
That's why you have people there watching, spectating and stuff. They can say whatever the hell they want. With, some amount of courtesy, of course.
With gusto. Yeah, but she says it with gusto.
Yeah.
She goes in like, you're nothing, and your children will be nothing. Fucking fuck, dude.
Oh, man.
All right, so moving on to the next article real quick. Valkyria Chronicles 4 was announced, and it will be coming out sometime next year on PS4, Xbox, and the Switch. And the thing about Valkyria Chronicles 4 is that it's returning to its roots. So the game Valkyria Revolution, which came out I think last year, it took the series in a different direction and it wasn't well received. And they listened and they noticed this. So Sega is going back to the turn-based strategy style battle system with the game. So if there are any Valkyria Chronicles fans out there, rejoice. or unless you like the last game, but still rejoice because there are 3 other entries that follow the same system. So, what do you think? Have you played any of these games?
Not really. I think I played a demo of the very first one, but that was about it. But it always seemed like a very interesting series. I do sort of like, turn-based strategy sort of RPGs, but I don't know if that necessarily jives with me or, just so many other damn games to play. But I'm glad because, I don't know, the series seems to have been going up and down with, like, I don't know, they've been doing different things with the game. So I know the first one was super well received, and hopefully now that they're going back to their roots, they kind of capitalizes on what so many people loved about the first game.
About it in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right. So moving on in other game announcement news. So remember that Arika fighting game that was supposedly a rumor, and then an April Fool's joke, and then it turned out being real, and now they're adding all these characters.
Like Skullomania.
Skullomania, he's so good. I wonder where's Darren Mister. Darren Mister was a good character too. And Doctrine Dark, he was a good character too. I know he's in there, but Darren Mister is in there. He's gonna be okay. Yeah, okay. I'm getting the gun. So the game actually now has a name finally, and it's actually being called Fighting EX Layer, which people thought was the prototype name for the game. And I believe, was there a release date announced?
I don't remember. They have probably like a time frame.
Yeah, I think the time frame is next year. Yeah. But in the meantime, they actually are going to release a beta for the game on December 11th. And it's going to be available to be played for 2 weeks. And you're going to be able to use 6 of the characters. Basically, all of the characters that weren't Capcom characters in Street Fighter EX. Like, those characters are going to be in this game. That's a simple way of putting it. And the 6 players that are going to be playable are Kairi, Garuda, Skullomania, Darren Mister, Alan Snyder, Trepu Break, and Shirase. I loved Alan Snyder. He was Ken's student.
Oh, man.
Like Sean. But, yeah. Alan Snyder's dope. I loved Alan Snyder, man. He's good too. But there was also announced a new Gogi system, which basically lets players choose a bunch of modifiers and power-ups to customize the characters. So basically, like, I guess gem equivalents, like in Street Fighter X Tekken, or even Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite to a degree. So there's going to be options like increased movement speed or attack power or other abilities that grant super armor and rage, which gives infinite super meter and so on and so forth. So yeah, I want to try this beta out because those characters were pretty interesting. And I like the Street Fighter EX games a whole lot, especially like you could connect every special together in weird ways. But what do you think about this? Are you gonna get on that beta?
I'm gonna try to. I don't love the name though. I wish they had gotten a better name than just Fighting EX Layer. Like it's just generic, Japanese. Like let's just mash words together.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm kind of glad this is becoming a real thing. The only other concern I have is that Goji system, Tekken or Street Fighter Cross Tekken, the gem system there was not well received. I'm hoping this is done better or balanced in some sensible way. I don't know. It seems like it could get out of control pretty easily. But that's my only concern. Other than that, yeah, fucking Skullomania, like put him in my hands. Let's go.
Nice. Skullomania is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is really cool. But all right. So in the last bit of news, Nintendo is killing it for this quarter, it seems, as far as sales. So the SNES Classic actually outsold the PS4 and Xbox One in October. And it did it, I think, so the SNES Classic came out in September, right? The end of September, is that correct?
Yeah.
So I think it also sold out all of the systems in that month as well, in just a few days.
Something like that,
It did it again in October. So now the SNES Classic wasn't necessarily the top selling console, but that honor went to the Switch. So Nintendo had the top 2 selling consoles in the month of October.
Uh-huh.
And then I believe the PS4 was 3rd and the Xbox One was 4th place. So I'm not surprised.
I kind of am.
Why is that?
Because, supply constraints before with like the NES Classic, I was figuring, since the Super Nintendo.
Just not enough units to meet that number.
Yeah. And it's still kind of crazy that they, one, I guess they put enough stock in stores, and two, they just... And I can see why maybe like PS4 and Xbox One weren't selling as much. I think looking at the November sales will be a little more interesting, just because that's when we have Xbox One X, and see how that maybe affects the Xbox.
Call of Duty games also come out.
Yeah, and holiday shopping.
They came out, I should say.
Yeah, and the holiday shopping, and people trying to get more of the consoles. That'll probably be a more interesting number. Or
there probably won't be enough supply of the SNES Classic to meet that quota.
Yeah, although I'm still seeing headlines like, "Oh, Walmart's going to have Super Nintendo's classics in stock this weekend" or something. So, it seems like they're still coming.
Well, definitely way more than NES Classic ever did. Like, that system is like it's a rabbit's foot. Like, you can't find that shit if you tried.
Well, just wait until next year when they start producing more of them, like they said they would.
Oh, we'll see about that. I don't know, but yeah, but that's good. I mean, Nintendo's killing it still. Like, they're coming out real strong, and I mean, I don't think it's any surprise that the Switch is the number 1 selling console for October, because Mario Odyssey came out, and it's an obvious system seller.
Yeah,
and I think it was the same. Well, I'm not sure if it's necessarily the same, but the amount of units sold for Breath of the Wild, the game itself, in March was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So it's I think in a matter of a month it sold like 3 million or 2 million units, something like that.
At this point I don't even remember, but it was a good chunk of change for sure.
Because they sold 1.5 million Switches because of Breath of the Wild in the matter of like 6 weeks or something like that. And then I think there were also like the Wii U version was also sold like, I think like 800,000 units.
Right.
And then there were like other Breath of the Wild for the Switch units that were sold outside of the systems. So
yeah, and then they sold more Breath of the Wild copies for Switch than there were Switches sold.
And there were exactly. So,
oh man.
So yeah, it doesn't surprise me, because Mario Odyssey is definitely a system seller, like for sure. And that honor should go to the Switch by far, at least for this month.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that is actually gonna about do it for news this week, and we are going to go into new and upcoming releases, and Alex is going to tell us what we have to look forward to for this week. If you're listening to this while you eat, just enjoy that. Enjoy what you're about to hear.
For the love of God, if you're listening to this and you're eating, just don't. If you finish eating, don't feel the need to rush out and do those nasty Black Friday deals the day before. Black Friday.
Let's stay inside. I mean, it's I think it's getting a little better, but please don't go out there and die for no reason.
Yeah, it's not worth it either. Just to camp out.
It's really not.
No,
it's really not.
No.
No.
But this week, for the week of November 21st, we've got Batman: The Enemy Within, Episode 3, Fractured Mask. That's available now for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC.
This is definitely one I'm going to wait for all of them to come out. I'm not going to.
I don't know. You already broke that promise once.
I'm not going to jump the gun on this one. I should have waited. I should have just waited. But But yeah. But I mean, I have a gaming PC, and it's just right here. It's so easy.
I know, right? Just download whatever the hell you want.
I know, man. It's so easy, and the discounts and stuff. It's just crazy.
Steam downloads are so fast.
I know. I was playing Cuphead while I was waiting for the game to download, and I was able to get through one boss, and by the time I finished, it was done.
Wow, amazing.
So I'm like, I guess this is real now.
Yeah, right. Also out this week is Monster of the Deep Final Fantasy 15 for the PlayStation VR. Axiom Verge Multiverse Edition is now out for the PlayStation 4, Vita, and Switch. Actually seems like a pretty cool package. It has like some cool extras like maps and posters and actually a documentary on the making of the game. And I saw it on Amazon for like $30, so it's not super expensive either. So if you are
so not only is it a physical copy, but it comes with more stuff.
Yes, comes with a bunch of extra stuff.
Okay, it's not bad. Axiom Verge is a great game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Also out this week is Apollo Justice Ace Attorney is out for the 3DS. I believe that is only digital only, so you can only get it on the eShop. But yeah, hey, more Ace Attorney on the 3DS. Let's go. Also, it's finally out for the rest of the world. Animal Crossing Pocket Camp for iOS and Android. Welcome to the club, guys, because now you can join in the party that I've been at for the past few weeks.
Well,
we've also got Planet of the Apes Last Frontier for the PlayStation 4. Rec Room is making its way to the PlayStation VR. Lumo is out for Switch. Dead Synchronicity Tomorrow Comes Today is out for the Switch. River City Rival Showdown is out now for the 3DS. Super Beat Sonic with an X in the beginning for some reason. That is now available for the Switch. Unbox Newbie's Adventure is for the Switch. World of Final Fantasy is out now for the PC. Battle of the Bulge is out for the PlayStation 4. Worms WMD is out for the Switch. Transcripted, also out for the Switch. And finally, Stick It to the Man, also out for the Switch. And then we have one final release coming on Friday. So if you're listening to this on the Thursday it comes out, you gotta wait another day, but you can get Crimson Land on Friday for the Nintendo Switch. And that will actually do it for our new releases of this week. Kind of a slow week, but you know, hey, there'll be hell of deals for all the other old games that have been out forever.
I mean, everybody's eating stuff anyway right now, so it's fine.
Yeah, no, there's
people will be eating for 4 days, so it's fine, 4 days straight.
Yeah, and there's hell of online deals too. I know the PlayStation sale just started happening. I'm sure Xbox will be having their own thing. And
if anyone's interested, Persona 5 is on sale for like half price.
You know what? Someone that's actually nice enough to gift me Tekken 7 on the PC. I was like, holy shit!
What?
Yeah,
that's amazing.
It's great. Can't wait to try it out.
Cool.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's it. That means we're done with this episode. Mm-hmm. So before we officially go, we would like you to visit innercitygeeks.com if you haven't done so already during this episode, because that's where we're located and where we have a bunch of stuff sometimes regarding everything geek. We have a YouTube channel, and it's called Good Games Podcast, and there you can listen to some of our old episodes, or this episode that you're listening to right now. If you're not listening to it on there, you can go there and listen to it there as well. And while you're there, subscribe to the channel so that you can get all those updates of whenever we post new episodes, which is every week. And you can also listen to us on iTunes, where you can leave us a review. It's the best thing that you can do for us. So let us know what you think of the show, whether you like it, whether you don't like it. Just let us know how we're doing so we can, improve or not. And you can also listen to us on Stitcher Radio, and you can basically listen to us where all podcasts are available to be listened to. And I also want to encourage everyone that if you're going to do any kind of Amazon shopping, especially at this point in time, you can go to innercitygeeks.com, and then when you do, there's an Amazon banner on the right-hand side of the page. When you click that, it'll take you to Amazon. Go buy whatever it is you're going to buy for maybe Black Friday or Cyber Monday deals. And when you do that, a little bit of that will come back towards us so we can provide more show and more content just for you. You can reach us on all of the social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, mainly at Inner City Geeks. The Twitter for this show is at Good Game Podcast. Because of character limits, we can't put the S in there, but it's still us. And you can also email us at goodgamespodcast@gmail.com. And that is going to about do it for this one. We are going to say goodbye. happy Thanksgiving if you're in the U.S. If you're not in the U.S., happy
Thursday.
Regular week. Happy Thursday. And in leaving, as always, we say, good games, everybody.
Good games.
Face stain in the sea.